Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to my channel. My name is Paul, the Canadian Snowman, here once again with some more geography. Now, a lot of countries down, a lot more to go, but today it's Mali. Is it Mali or Mali? Mali, right? Yep. So, yes, yeah, once again, another country I know little to really nothing about, but that's all going to change today, obviously. So, without further ado, let's jump into it. Before I do, please hit that like and subscribe, guys. Please and thank you. Helps me out a lot. Get these videos noticed, gets your country noticed with all the likes and stuff. So, really appreciate that. But, anyways, let's do it. Let's do it. Is this a commercial? Oh, this is, never mind. This is a Geography Now ad.
Hey everybody, GeographyNow.com is finally launched, and since you guys asked for it, we made you guys Geography Now notepads and buttons. Stop by the website if you'd like to get one. Thanks for the support, guys.
Now, if there's one country that holds all the deepest ancient secrets and treasures of historical Africa, you might say Egypt, Ethiopia, which, okay, yeah, those are viable candidates. But try a country with the richest guy that ever existed, with cities flourishing in science, astronomy, and literature, and gold. Looks like good old Jolly Molly just stepped in the ring.
Really?
It's time to learn.
You know, honestly, like if someone asked me like the richest person to ever live, uh, I honestly wouldn't pick Africa. So yeah, it's my bad. But when actually now that I think about it, I guess it kind of makes sense. And I'm not trying to be mean at all. I really not. I just I know there's been I forget what you call them. A few countries in Africa. I can't think of the word. Like they basically have a king, or they have the person that leads all, like an emperor kind of person, and so they basically rule everything and run everything. So it wouldn't surprise me, I guess. Because that person has all the money, right? Because everything is theirs. So if you have a big king and owns like a big part of the land, and they have gold and stuff. That wouldn't surprise me, I guess. I don't know. I'm trying not to offend. I mean, no ill will. So sorry if that came off bad. Yeah. Anyways.
Geography Now! Hey everybody, I'm your host Barbs. Today, Mali may look pretty different from what it used to look thousands of years ago, but there's still a fascinating story of people that have made this fast-growing nation their home. Let's jump back into the sands of Africa, shall we? The name Mali originally is derived from the Mandinka word for hippopotamus, but later it came to mean the place where the king lives. Either way, there's like a connotation of strength behind it. First of all, Mali is landlocked, located in Western Africa, bordered by 8 other countries, straddling the prime meridian near the city of Goa, which means if you visit, you can stand in 2 different hemispheres at once. They also have no specific singular northernmost or easternmost points, as the borders are straight lines. The country is made up of 10 regions, and the capital Bamako, which administers itself as its own district entity. Mali is kind of split into 2 separate parts: the fertile sub-Saharan southwest, where about 90% of the population lives, and the arid Saharan northeast, which makes up about 65% of the country's landmass. The north is where the tension started between.
Yeah, I kind of figured, once I seen like that big desert part, I thought to myself, oh yeah, I bet they live back down in the more greener area. I don't think anyone really wants to live in a desert. I'm sure there's a few though. You got lots of land, gives yourself lots of property.
Saharan northeast, which makes up about 65% of the country's landmass. The north is where the tension started between the communities, mostly ethnic Tuaregs, against the central Malian government, vying for secession into a whole new self-proclaimed independent area they call Azawad, led by the MNLA, or National Movement for the Liberation of Azawad. In 2012, fights broke out, and shortly the Malian government came in and regained control. The president visited the headquarters in Kidal to seek talks. However, today the push for autonomy and nationalism still kind of lives on. It's a tricky situation. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Most travel agencies give at least some advisories against visiting these regions for now, due to the somewhat unstable political atmosphere.
But I wanted to see Timbuktu.
You can just use your best.
How old is this video? I'm just kind of curious. Is that tension still there, or maybe they've kind of like squashed it, like not squash, kind of like I guess the whole independent thing. Maybe it's kind of like went away, or is it like still like a real thing that they're going for? Kind of always curious to people who live in the country when stuff like that, in their country, stuff like that happens, what their thoughts of the situation are. Are you like it's supportive? of the separation, or you want to keep it. I'm always kind of curious in that stuff. But anyways, back to the video.
The somewhat unstable political atmosphere.
But I wanted to see Timbuktu.
You can just use your best discretion and be smart, that's all. After the capital, Bamako, the largest cities are Sisako and Mopti, and the country only has one main international airport, Bamako's Senu International. Technically, Gao also has an international airport, but it only services the Dutch Air Force and UN peacekeeping mission flights. Other regional airports like Timbuktu and Mopti are around, but with either suspended or limited service, which is sad because Timbuktu is like such a historic place of significance. We'll get into that later. Now, the country has a vast domain that extends all the way to the middle of the Sahara. However, there is only one trans-Saharan roadway that crosses into Algeria at the border of El Khali, which Algeria put a double wall barricade around on their side. Otherwise, the Timbuktu region has no highway that extends to the north and virtually no people live there. However, some intrepid nomads and even tourists either take a car ride or camel caravan to what might be considered the most remote, isolated outpost in the world, Taoudeni, the famous historic salt mine that people have been excavating from for centuries. Now, we'll explain a little more later in the video on how Mali is very historically significant, not just in Africa, but in the entire world. And today you can see former remnants of its glory in certain areas. Some places of interest might include places like the National Museum in Bamako, the City Center Market, the Artisan Market, the Independence Monument, the Rose Dune, the Dandan Waterfalls, Fort de Medine, Bamako Grand Mosque, the National Zoo, pretty much anything in the fabled city of Timbuktu, the pottery venues of Ségou, cliff villages of Bandigara.
Timbuktu. That's Timbuktu. I've obviously I've heard that name before, but like I didn't know what the meaning of it was or what it represented. So that's actually really cool, and I actually learn about that today. So that's awesome.
Anything in the fabled city of Timbuktu, the pottery venues of Ségou, cliff villages of Bandigara, the Emperor Askia tomb, and the entire country is famous for having multiple traditional style mud brick mosques and buildings. However, the one that most people know about would probably be the most iconic landmark of the country, the Great Mosque of Djenné. It is the largest mud brick building in the world, made in its complete form in 1907, refurbished every year after weather damage, and it's featured on the coat of arms, which we will discuss on Flag Friday. Stay tuned. Otherwise, the real powerhouse of Mali, though, would have to be the one amazing life source almost the entire population depends on, the Niger River, which brings us to
Geography?
every so often we get those countries that has like a lot of land, but almost the entire population is crammed into one small, comfortable urban area that few venture outside of.
Wait till you get to my country's episode.
Oh, whoa, you again.
Hi. Yeah, what's up?
What was your name again?
John?
How'd you get on the show?
I've been on the past few episodes.
Oh, yeah. Welcome to the team. First of all, Mali lies on what is known as the West African Craton, which
I just want to say this, it's been really cool watching the Geography Now channel, their series here kind of grow from like the first country, they didn't when they start off the A's until now, because it was kind of just Paul doing it, and just I guess the quality is definitely improved as it as it's gone on. So just a shout out to him. I mean, good job for the success, dude, because you're doing an amazing job, and now you got like a bunch of your friends, it seems like, helping you out and everything. So definitely shout out to Paul on the success of his channel and everything, man. Doing a great job, buddy.
which is like some... welcome to the team. First of all, Mali lies on what is known as the West African Craton, which is like some kind of geological plate zone that people who study rocks are probably interested in. The country is divided into three main physical regions: the hot, dry Saharan desert in the north, the semi-arid Sahel savanna zone in the middle, and the tropical savanna and light forest zone in the far south. The tallest peak, Hombori Tondo, can be found in the east-central Mopti region, and just to skip away, you find this interestingly spearhead-shaped crevice-looking thing. That is Lake, quote-unquote, Lake Fagibin, which is supposed to be the largest lake in the country, acting as like a reservoir when the rivers overflood, but today it's almost completely dried up and reduced to nothing more than a semi-arid lake bed. Instead, most of the overflow is diverted to these little guys under it, lakes Tele, Oro, and Fati. Nonetheless, the largest permanent lake would be Lake Manatali in the south, an artificial lake created by the Manatali Dam. Nonetheless, with water, there's only one guy that everybody is paying attention to: the Niger River. The entire Malian economy is almost confined to this riverine area as it traverses 5 of the regions, including Timbuktu and Gao in the north. It passes through the capital Bamako as well as every major city of commercial significance. Otherwise, further to the west lie the branches of the Senegal River, which completes the backbone of the country. And it's also here in this area you can probably find the national animal, the leopard. The rainy season in the south sometimes causes the Niger River to flood, creating the Niger River Delta, a vast network of seasonal wetlands, much like the Okavango Delta we studied in the Botswana episode.
Seasonal river delta flooding. It's like Mother Nature moisturizing her skin after a rash.
Ooh, alright, triple shot of espresso break. You know what time it is? it is? Noah, you know the deal. Take over.
I got it. Despite the presence of water, only about 10% of the land is forested and only about 6% is arable, even though about 70% of the workforce is engaged in agriculture, making about 42% of the GDP. Nonetheless, crops are not the country's largest product, but rather gold and cotton, which make up about 80% of export earnings alone. Mali is Africa's third largest gold producer, and the most profitable mines are found in the southeast Bambouk Mountains. Speaking of resources, food in Mali.
Somehow I think all this gold is going to come into play, when it comes to the richest man in the world ever in history and all that good stuff. Just a hunch.
Found in the southeast Bambouk Mountains. Speaking of resources, food! In Mali, there are a lot of different regional cuisines that different people groups are known for, but some nationwide known dishes might include things like Malian-style jollof rice, jablani juice, meat in peanut sauce, Tuareg-style alabaja, okoye, saga saga, Malian tea, and poulet yassa. Yeah, poulet as in the French word
What
for
is
chicken,
that?
which tells you a little bit of the backstory for these people. Let's discuss more in...
You got that.
Once again, that was Noah. Thank you a lot, man. Follow him on Instagram. Send him fan mail. Mali is interesting because it's a nation that struggles, yes, but they do it in like the most colorful, unique, exuberant, flashy way, and every region has their own type of flashiness. First of all, the country has about 18 million people and has the third highest birth rate in the world, expected to double in population by 2035. The population is pretty diverse, made up of several ethnic groups. About half of the population falls under the broader Mande group, about 16% fall under the various Fula or Fulani peoples, 13% under the Voltaic groups, and 10% mostly in the north are Tuareg and Moorish peoples, and the rest are made up of other people groups with a sizable Songhai minority. They use the West African CFA franc as their currency, they use the type C and E plug outlets, and they drive on the right side of the road. Of course, as a former French territory, French was taught and today is the official language. All people groups use it to intercommunicate amongst themselves. However, there are also 13 recognized national languages. Now back to the diversity thing. In previous episodes we did, like Burkina Faso and Gambia, we mentioned the Mande peoples, which make up the largest group in Mali. They are descended from the peoples that would eventually create and maintain the three most famous empires of West Africa, the Ghana, Mali, and Songhai. Woohoo! Yeah, Ghana! Actually, the Ghana Empire was nowhere near modern-day Ghana and had nothing to do with them.
Ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine. But you
Historically, Mali played a huge role in the trans-Saharan trade routes between the Sahelian kingdoms of North Africa. Timbuktu and Djenné were centers of learning, science, astronomy, and literature in the 14th century. Mansa Musa was disputably one of, if not the most rich man that ever possibly existed. And it wasn't until European sea trade and subsequent famines and invasions by the Moroccans that these empires started to decline. Also, we talked about the Fula and Fulani peoples before. They're spread throughout all of West Africa. About a third of the entire population are pastoralists, making them the world's largest nomadic peoples on the planet, and about 2.5 million live in Mali, which makes the country about 5 to 10%.
I thought we'd hear more about the richest guy in history, but I forget this is geography now. It's not like we're doing a big documentary on just this guy, so I guess it makes sense that we don't hear a whole lot about it. But apparently, after the British and everyone else got involved, things kind of went south for the richest man in the world. Anyways,
Nomadic.
Aren't they like the people that play the Hodu guitar thing?
Yep.
That is like so dope.
They are known for their women's hairstyles, woven hats, and colorful loose accessories and clothing. Then you have the southern groups like the Voltaic, Sanufo, and Bois peoples.
Are those the people that play the balafone? That thing looks like a xylophone. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
So dope.
As well as the famous Dogon peoples that have the world's longest religious ceremony, the Sigi
Wow.
festival that happens once every 60 years, and the event in itself can last years. They also have the Lake Antogo fish frenzy at the sacred lake once a year. Men jump in and catch as many fish as they can. Then we reach the northern peoples, mostly
Holy-
Tuareg, a people.
hold on. Man, that's insane. I bet some people probably get hurt in that. Is that true? Like, is a big frenzy that people are going to get trampled maybe? Or is it, everyone's kind of pretty cool about it, man. But that'd be, it looks very it looks scary that you might get trampled on, but it also seems like it'd be like a lot of fun. Everyone's in there just trying to catch a fish, It seems it's cool. And the stills, man, the feet there, man. Ooh, that takes some skill.
and jump in and catch as many fish as they can. Then we reach the northern peoples, mostly Tuareg, a people group related to the Berbers in northern Africa. They inhabit the vast Saharan landscape. These people have millennia of pre-Islamic history and traditions rooted in desert-adapted tribes and customs found nowhere else on Earth.
Dude, are they the people that play the Imazad instrument thing?
Wow, Keith, you're really on an instrument quest today.
What can I say? It's like so dope, man. You know, guitars, instruments.
Whew, there's a lot of other main people groups and tribes that we could have discussed, but these are the biggest, most notable ones that probably hold the largest influence over the country. Otherwise, faith-wise, Mali is quite unique. There's a saying, Mali is 98% Muslim, 2% Christian, and 100% animist. Much like we studied in the recent Eswatini episode, the majority of Mali's population in the south somewhat adheres to a form of religious pluralism, in this case with Islam. Many claim to be Muslim, mostly in the Sufi order, but syncretize traditional animist practices as to retain connections to their pre-Islamic roots. This, of course, does not fly too well with the Sunni Tuaregs and other people groups in the north, which has been one of the leading factors in domestic conflict. I asked some of you guys, the Muslim geographers, to explain the difference between Sunni and Sufi Islam, and here are what I would say may be some of the most helpful responses I got for clarity. Mainstream Sunnis are from a main branch that focuses more on doctrine and the world affairs happening right now, whereas Sufism is usually from the Malikite branch that teaches a more mystical branch of Islam that focuses on the world after. It follows a direct approach to experience God through things like meditation, prayer, and sometimes even dance and music, depending on the region. One Saudi geography told me that in the broadest stereotypical sense, Sufism is sometimes in certain places kind of seen as like hippie Islam. I don't know, what do you guys think? Would that be kind of like an accurate description? Anyway, for what it's worth, most southern Malian Muslims follow Sufism, whereas northern Malians have a more strict rebel-controlled Sharia-implemented society that does not agree with the more moderate approach to their southern countrymen. And that in itself is a whole other story, which kind of means this is the time where we transition into the history montage section. We don't have a lot of time to explain, but in the quickest way I can put it, tribes and people groups inhabit the upper Niger River Basin, the Empire of Mali becomes a dominant force, Mansa Musa makes his huge pilgrimage to Mecca, the decline of the Malian Empire, Moroccans defeat the Songhai, Timbuktu becomes the capital, huge famine in the 1800s, French occupation, it becomes French Sudan, independence, this guy becomes president, March Revolution, political system changes, Northern Mali conflict in 2012, things look good for a short while, but then another attack happens 3 years later. UN peacekeeping forces continue to send aid. The country slowly tries to accommodate the rapid population growth. And here we are today. Some notable people of Malian descent or born in Mali might include people like, of course, Mansa Musa, Ali Farka Touré, Oxmo Puccino, Salif Keita, Vieux Farka Touré, Ngoni Ba, Amadou Hampate Ba, Malik Sidibe, Sheikh Umar Sissoko, Rokia Traore, and Omu Sangare. Alright, that being said, we have to move on. Let's discuss Mali's diplomacy now, shall we? For Mali, friends are interesting because historically they've already been linked to so many people across Africa, but modern politics and mainstream culture has also played a strong role as well. For one, outside of Africa, France is probably the closest friend. As a former colony, France holds close ties. French people make up the largest tourist group, even after the northern conflict, which was also partially aided by their military. During the Cold War, Mali somewhat kind of allied with Russia, however, it wasn't really that strong. Nonetheless, today Russia and their former Soviet Republic Armenia both have remnant ties, and there's even an embassy for both Russia and Mali in each other's countries. Inside of Africa, it's a little tricky because it depends on who you ask. Culturally, the people of the south identify closer with their neighbors and probably consider countries like Burkina Faso, the Ivory Coast, and Guinea as their best friends, whereas the northern peoples identify closer with Mauritania, Algeria, and Niger, each one also having high populations of the same ethnic groups like the Tuareg and Berber. With that being said, with Algeria, it's a little tricky. There was a hostage situation in the Algerian consulate in 2012, and since then, the Algerian prime minister has planned to work alongside the MNLA, which means South Mali has a little issue with them. In conclusion, Mali is a nation with thousands of years telling a story built off of sand, mud, rivers, and gold, and today, even amidst the conflict, they know where they've come from and they keep their story alive. Stay tuned, Malta is coming up next.
Malta. All right, there we go. Woo. Definitely, I don't know, like, definitely very interesting. I feel like a lot of it got focused on, kind of like the differences between the south and the north. I think it's kind of like a little bit of difference, I guess, in how you guys view, I guess, your religion, just a different way. Actually, I don't even want to say what it is between. Because when it comes to religion, I'm the wrong person to ask. Because so I'm gonna like stay away from that part because I'm just gonna get myself in trouble. So because I don't know either side, so I can't really I can't give it an opinion on everything. I guess there's just different views on that stuff, and I hope you guys are able to kind of like, you know, able to work through that things and become together as one, and everything be all good and everything. And obviously, you definitely need that river. Apparently, that's like the lifeblood of your country. You definitely have a lot of really old like sites to go see, like Timbuktu. It was kind of cool to put like a picture to the name because I really didn't know anything about it at all. They never knew what country it was in. So I thought maybe Timbuktu was a country in itself, but apparently not. So that shows how much I know. Definitely a very another like fascinating country. And then there was, like I said, the Mali kingdom. I'm sorry, I'm gonna blank, but you guys were up there, like really, really up there. Back in the day, and like a lot of power, a lot of money, and like stuff like that is fascinating. Like stuff like that will end up being like you know content for like a year or two down the line. I'll end up doing a video on it, just because just like there's always history somewhere, like cool history somewhere. So I guess I'll never run out of content because you can just. So there's always history, right? Anyways, please hit the like and subscribe button. I don't know what I was rambling on about. Probably made no sense, but definitely another very interesting, cool country. And I hope you guys like this. I hope you hit the like and subscribe button. And I hope you guys continue on with the journey with me to every country in the world. I don't even know what country I'm on. How many countries have we done? We have done, that was 109. So 110. Malta is tomorrow. So wow, we're doing over 100 countries. Wow. Seems like time flies by. But anyway, peace. Catch you guys in future videos. Always a blast. And I am out of here. See ya.